can say a whole bunch of things. At the end of the day, you have to show it. You have to show it.
You want to get the fans going in your own building, hit Crosby. And then he has a set of hands that are incredible. Back through the legs, off the skate. Zoe doesn't pick it up. Too much ice to cover for everybody. Save by Hart. Wow. He got right to left. Right to left. Oh my goodness. This is something special right here.
Be a flyer.
All right, I'm like really thrown off right now. One, that's not usually how we do our introductions anymore.
Forgot about that.
And two, did that echo for you guys as well?
The beginning of it, yeah.
Like throughout that whole video and the countdown, it all echoed.
Pat, that's my fault. I completely forgot that's not how we do it. This is why I don't run this
I'm
thing
like
anymore.
really thrown off right now.
This is why I don't do this anymore.
Okay, well, welcome to episode 19 of the Pucking Flyers podcast. My name is Patrick Wilson. I'm proudly joined by my co-hosts, Jonathan Pat. Nope, that's Sam Wismer and Jonathan Pat. Sorry, it's opposite.
Well, see, John's usually on the bottom. That's why.
It's all because
Patrick
had to
is
go
a bottom.
away.
Yeah, I am exhausted right now. I just got back from a weekend-long trip doing a soccer tournament on the beach. So I am like dead tired. As you can see, my face is nice and red. But in today's episode, we will be talking about Flyers finally signing a head coach after I don't even know how many days. Joel Farabee and his surgery.
Screech!
And then the Sandstrom signing and what that means for the AHL goalies. And then Sam Wismer here did a lovely interview with the Pat Nagle. Yes, I had to say it, the Pat Nagle.
Like the Ohio State, how that's now trademarked.
Oh, well, probably shouldn't say that on here then.
The
With Pat Nagle, and she will be showing us the interview at the end of the show here. So, I'm still thrown off right now. I'm not gonna lie. Like everything is just
so something
whack.
happened, right? This past week, Flyers signed a head coach, right?
Yeah, buddy. Flyers did sign a head coach.
John C.
Close. I have one comment. I have one comment real quick right before we get to the head coach. Anybody else really proud of Albay Kubel dropping the Stanley Cup on the ice and denting it?
Listen, only Knack would do that, and I love him for it. It makes me love him even more.
Oh, I thought that was the greatest thing ever. It had to be
It's a good thing that his career highlights is about a 6-second clip of him dropping the Stanley Cup.
No, but seriously, congratulations to the Avs for pulling it off.
Yeah, they were one hell of a team this year.
And
are a major threat in this league.
Too bad for Claude Giroux, who didn't want to go there. Man.
He had a big shot to go there too.
Yeah, he didn't want to.
And we should also recognize the AHL Chicago Wolves pulled off a Calder Cup back to back because they didn't have one in 2020 and they didn't have one in 2021. So they won 2019 and now they've won 2022 under two different affiliations. So, hey boys.
That was a little robotic for me, but I got what the gist of that was. Congrats to the Chicago Wolves for the Calder Cup victory.
4-0 shutout.
For the last game? Or they swept them 4-0? Oh,
no,
okay.
Last game.
Yeah. All right. So head coach. I gotta switch this time now. Head coach. Flyers signed John Tortorella.
Tortorella. Thank you.
They signed John Tortorella because it pisses John off to a
Ella,
4-year
deal. Anybody?
To a 4-year deal. And at the rate the Flyers are going through head coaches, I doubt he makes half of that.
Well, no, they're still paying AV right now.
I know. That's what I'm saying. At the rate the Flyers are going through head coaches, he's not going to last half of that contract, but he's still going to be paid for that contract.
Yeah, AV.
So we're doing good.
Now.
What'd you say, Sam? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said AV's living the good life right now.
Yeah, he's drinking all his margaritas.
Sipping martinis and
martinis.
Life.
That was his thing.
Martinis,
I thought it was margaritas.
Yeah. Nah.
But what are your thoughts on this signing? I know you guys had opinions before when it was comparing Barry Trotz and John Tortorella. Fight me.
Well, I'll go to Sean off more. I like it. I like what he had to say in his press conferences. He didn't promise anything to the fans. Just that he's gonna work with the guys and make sure that they get a little bit better. So let's see if he can uphold to that promise.
I'm already talked into it. As soon as he signed, I think I called Patrick and said I'm in.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who the coach is going to be. I am all in. I do like that Chuck Fletcher went out and got his guy, whoever that was. That is just something that every GM wants, and he did it, and I'm proud of him for it. And I love John Tortorella's press conference. I know everybody, didn't really like that he kept saying, look at the emblem, look, yada yada yada. But he cares. He gives a crap. So I think just his attitude and mentality coming into it. I think that he kept on saying it. He's going to be fair. I think that is going to hold true, and I think that this team's going to create a little bit of an edge. One line that stuck out to me was that we want to be noticed as soon as we come off the bus. That's something we haven't had in the last couple of years. You want to be known as being a hard team to play against, and the Flyers haven't been that in the last couple of years.
I was going to say, I feel like they really haven't been that since 2013. But even then...
The bubble year. Not in the bubble, but leading up to the bubble.
Well, in the bubble, they were actually still kind of a threat in the beginning.
When the games
they won the round robin games, and all that, and then they won in the first round. But then they really gave Islanders a run for their money to push it all the way to Game 7.
Right,
but because the
Flyers put a number 1 seed,
but because the Flyers didn't go into overtime against the Islanders, they ended up losing that. In case you guys didn't know, in the bubble, the Flyers, all 3 victories against the Islanders came in overtime.
Correct.
So,
Pat, what are your first impressions?
I'm not fully talked into it yet. Still, I'm okay with the pick because I know he's going to be aggressive towards the Flyers. He's not going to let, with how soft the Flyers were this year, he's not going to let that slide. So I'm okay with his type of mentality towards all that. But at the same time, I'm still sticking with they picked a big name that everybody knows. And that just hasn't worked for the Flyers recently. So, I mean, we'll see what happens 2 years from now. But I'm still not fully convinced. If he can really rebound the Flyers and get them in the playoffs, he'll convince me a lot more. But then with the next year, he'll probably still be on thin ice. If he has a bad start, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets fired real quick.
Why?
I just want them to do better this year. I don't want it to be such a dismal year where we're on here every week just being like, it's the same team all over again. So let's hope that Torts can give them the energy and the push and the motivation in the locker room.
That's what they need. Like there's no grit, there's no fight behind these guys right now. And John Tortorella can definitely get that. Yes, I'm going to keep calling
I love
him
how you
Tortorella.
keep saying his name.
I'm going to keep saying that because I know it pisses John off. You can't have Sam pissed off every time.
How do I say this? The ability for him to come in, I've listened to a bunch of his interviews so far, either on the radio or in his press conference, and he seems like he's learned a lot from his experiences. He referred to a couple times that he's open a lot more to the players to hear what they have to say, and that he said, my job's to get them better. He's not afraid to dig into somebody if they need it. And I think it's really interesting that he brought up that when he first got to Columbus, that him and Scott Hartnell didn't see it eye to eye, and it was Scott Hartnell's locker room, and that was a constant battle, and then Scott Hartnell got benched, and then all of a sudden he understood what he was doing, and they were able to talk it out. John Tortorella kept saying in his interviews that he wants the constant dialogue, and he said that there are going to be disagreements and there will be fights about it. But he said, I enjoy it and I encourage it because that's what makes the team better and stronger overall. He said the same thing about Cam Atkinson, that it's not that they did not see eye to eye at all. And then now they have a great relationship, and here we go. When does October start?
And after Torts' announcement
on October 1st. Just
after
answering John's question. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, after Torts' announcement was made, I know Cam put something up. I think it was on Twitter, and then somebody had said something, like a former player of the coach, on Instagram, and I think Cam said something along the lines of, "How about you mind your own business?" I was like, "All right, Cam."
The one person I'm really curious about a possible change is TK this year. Because TK was, when he first joined the NHL, he was known to be that little pest, that little bugger that got under everybody's skin. And recently he just hasn't been that way. So I wonder with John Tortorella back or signed, if he'll kind of like push TK to be that little pest again.
Yeah.
I don't think you can teach that though. I don't think you can.
I'm not saying teach TK that. I'm saying push TK to keep doing it.
Yeah, I think the attitude that he's going to bring will definitely enhance that. He said that it's going to be a very hard camp, lots of skating, lots of practice just to figure out what he has. And he said he's not going to name a lot of, different roles or positions until he sees what he has on the ice. I had something in my head, but that whole thing just forgot about it. Yeah.
And I know some of the boys actually are either back or have stayed in Philly to just work over the summer.
Like who?
What?
Cam York, he's back.
Oh, okay.
But I know like a couple other guys have stayed. I forget who stayed, but yeah, Cam York's been back.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. John Tortorella had a year to, get away and just watch the NHL from afar. He said that one of the things that he's going to bring to the Flyers is playing better away from the puck. I think that is brilliant because, anybody can play with the puck in their hands if you're in the NHL, but it's how you move, synchronized, to use the Mighty Ducks reference, to Flying V. How do you move synchronized throughout the ice and create space for each other and space for your playmakers and people for for shots, for lanes to get rebounds and things like that. So I think that is going to be a big change that we're going to see in the first couple months.
I hope so. The Flyers need a lot of movement off the puck. They have not been doing well in that regard. They've not been doing well in many regards, hence why they were 27th out of 30.
Why they have the 5th overall pick, July
Yes.
7th.
Yes, exactly. Cheers to that.
Cheers.
No, this signing is definitely going to be interesting, and I'm just curious to see what happens. But John, I do know you asked why before when I said I wouldn't be surprised if even if the Flyers made the playoffs, if he was on thin ice next year, not this year coming up, but the next year. It's because the Flyers go through head coaches like no tomorrow. Like, they've been going through head coaches like crazy. So I would not be surprised if he ends up having a bad start even after he makes the playoffs and he gets fired.
But you have to think of it this way. Last year, the Flyers were in a position where they should have been playing a lot better and they should have been contending. And that's why AV got fired. Right now, John Tortorella said in his press conference that they're not going to win the Stanley Cup this year. That they're going to be building internally and building within, which I think is important because you can't just buy your way to a title. You build within.
Not anymore.
Yeah. And you just keep growing, getting better, 1% better every day. And it's just a different place where the Flyers are at right now. That's why I think John Tortorella gets 3 years minimum. Because even if he doesn't make the playoffs this year, you have to give the guys a second year to actually influence and put down his system of what he wants to do.
You have to give them time to adjust to his system. And that's something that I watched this year in Lehigh. You have
15.
Pat, John, I'm gonna kill you. Anyway.
What did I do?
Hey, I saw him at Saucon Valley on Friday.
Who?
Ian LePerriere.
Oh, I don't know he was still in the valley. Anyway.
Oh wait, I thought I sent that to you guys.
Anyway,
I think you sent it to just me because we were talking about Fortnite one night, and you were like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I saw Ian LePerriere at the golf tournament."
Oh, I thought
he, just witnessing that and the boys getting actually used to his system after losses after loss after loss after loss, but then eventually getting better because they got used to a system. So I don't, like John said, we can't really expect too much, but we have to be able to build.
I don't know. I still feel like the Flyers go through head coaches way too quickly. Like I would not be surprised if the players still did not get used to Tortorella's system. He's not paying attention anymore.
I'm looking up Flyers head coaches history.
Like I just don't trust that they'll keep him around long enough to actually get a good system going.
Well, here's the thing. Look, so, starting in 2010, Peter Laviolette, 5 years. Craig Berube came in, after Laviolette was fired, and he got 2 years. He finished a year and then another year. Then you have Hackstall, right? Then Hackstall was fired in the middle of the year. And Scott Gordon, theoretically, they've had 1, 2, 3 head coaches since 2010. Not counting interim head coaches.
Which would have been Scott Gordon and Mike Yeo.
And Craig Berube.
Okay.
Or I guess 4, because Craig Berube got another year after that.
Yeah, I think after Peter Laviolette, the Flyers started going through head coaches.
But that's the thing. The head coaches aren't sticking around for 10 years anymore. They're in and out in 4 to 6 years. The good ones are gone after 6 years.
I think I read something like
That's
the
what she
average
said.
shelf life of an NHL coach is like 3 years.
Well, John Tortorella said that after the 4th year in Columbus, he thought it was time to go, but he stayed another year and it kind of blew up after that. But he said after the 4th year, it felt like he should have went. And just looking at the Flyers' history, right here, 1972 to 1978, Fred Chiarot had 7 years. And then it goes 4, 4, 4, 4, 2, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2, 4, 4, 5, back to Peter Laviolette, and then straight through. So they're not staying that long. And it's just the nature of the NHL.
Yeah, that nature needs to stop.
As soon as you sign any professional head coaching job nowadays, as soon as you sign your name on that dotted line, you're signing yourself up to get fired eventually. It's just how the business works.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be after 2 or 3 years. You still got to give a chance for all the new drafts to get used to the new system, all the new signings, free agents, and all that to get used to the system. If you fire them after 11 games, then all the players have to get used to the new system instead of just the 6 new ones that came in. I feel like it's a lot more of a hassle than trying to figure it out and waiting until halfway through the season instead of waiting in the first quarter.
I mean, it definitely isn't ideal, but in a win now league where many teams are looking to not be in that lottery, and they're if you're not in the bottom 5 teams, you're basically it's a year-to-year job for a head coach. If you're in the bottom 5, you're secured for a little bit because the team around you is not great. Does that make sense?
It actually doesn't. I feel like the bottom 5 would be the first ones fired.
Not necessarily. Well, put it this way: if your team's not in a position to win and you're just in a full rebuild mode, you're not going to get fired.
You don't know that.
Think about it like this: the Sixers during the whole process years, they got Brett Brown because they just wanted somebody to teach them for a couple of years, and then they gave him a shot. When they wanted to start winning, they gave him a shot, and once he didn't, that's when he got fired. But they knew that they were going to lose a bunch of games, so they just said, "All right, we're going to stick with the same coach until we know we're ready to win, and if he doesn't work out, then we'll get rid of him."
And then they got Doc Rivers, and look how well that worked out.
I'm out on that one.
I mean, we'll see what happens. We got to keep moving though, because we're already 23 minutes into this, and we're still on the first segment out of 4 decently long segments. So Joel Farabee ended up getting surgery recently.
Yeah, he got surgery for something in the cervical area of his back. He got a disc replacement.
Okay,
so
I do remember that now.
Don't know where that came from.
They said it came up recently, though.
Yeah, I think like during practice or something like that. So, I mean, he was injured towards the end of the season, so maybe that's just like a lingering injury, but you never know.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really know too much about it until they were like, all right, you need to get surgery on it, basically.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was a surprise to literally everybody that he ended up getting that. But the good news is they did the surgery now instead of waiting a little bit longer, and he only has a 3 to 4 month recovery period. So by the time the regular season comes around, he may miss like 10 games.
It was
I'm gonna say 20 max.
surgery
in the cervical area, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna say
disc
like 20
replacement
games
surgery in his cervical region this morning.
Yeah. So he should be ready probably towards the end of training camp, beginning of the preseason games, or towards the end of October. That's that 3 to 4 month period.
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying like 20 games max he'll miss.
Yeah.
So like,
Not worried about it.
I'm not super stressed about him.
Now it does hurt.
Time.
It does hurt him not, being there all the time to hear, how John Tortorella wants things. But I'm sure he'll be there a lot.
It's not that he's gonna be able to miss or he's not gonna attend the practices. It's that he just can't skate for it. I mean, if the pain is too bad one day, he might miss like a day or two.
But he also needs the reps though, like everybody else is gonna need it.
Well, and he'll eventually get it when he's like 80% ready to come back. He'll start slowly getting into the practice reps. He'll be staying in Philadelphia until they feel he's 100% ready.
Yeah.
Didn't he have surgery in Philly?
I do not know where.
He had surgery in Philadelphia. I think it was at Penn.
By Dr. John Yoon.
Yeah, I think he
in Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't pay attention to those types of details.
Yeah.
I was more worried about the recovery time. But when he gets like 80% healthy, he'll be doing practice reps in Philadelphia. The only thing is that I'm worried about is hopefully the Flyers don't do what they did last year and try and push people back too early. If they try and push Farabee back too early, it's just going to mess up his surgery and he's going to need another one. So that is my only worry because the Flyers did horrible with that last year. It ruined Kevin Hayes. It ruined Ryan Ellis. Like it was just not good. I even think it ruined a couple people in Lehigh Valley too, trying to push them back.
That wasn't their only issue.
Well, no, it's not their only issue, but it's definitely an issue to worry about. I mean, another issue is Sam's a reporter there, but that's a different story. Like, come on.
How's that an issue?
So I can't keep taking jabs at John all day.
So take jabs at me. Okay, great, thanks.
You're the only other one here.
Great. Awesome.
That I can take jabs at. Well, no, other than Dan, but I don't know Dan.
Dan has entered the chat. If y'all did not know.
Yeah, he's now here. I still don't know Dan. So I'll just make fun of the fact that his last name has the word mind in it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Okay.
Because he obviously has none if he's here.
Clearly has nothing better to do.
No, that's my main worry about Joel Farabee is the Flyers trying to push him back too early because they know he needs him. They need him.
You missed the whole segment, Dan. This comment is irrelevant.
I mean, to reiterate, basically, we all agreed on we will see what happens. We think that the Flyers are going to be a little tougher to play against and that it's going to take some time to adjust to his system. But we're not expecting anything big for this season coming up.
I don't expect anything big, but I expect them to be more consistent. More consistently, maybe not wins, but it just, losing 3-2 instead of 7-2 or 5-3 instead of 5-9.
9-1. Like they do against the Rangers.
I just think that they're going to be more consistent.
So, yeah, that's like the basic gist of the head coach segment.
Anyway.
What are your comments on Joel Farabee, guys?
Me?
Just either one of you. I said my piece.
I just, like you said, I just hope that they don't rush him back. Farabee plays a big part in the team, and him having this surgery. Yeah, a lot of things threw me for a loop with it. I was like, well, wasn't he injured towards the end of the season? Is this that lingering injury? So you never know. But I hope he feels better and comes back stronger.
I think that because the injury is at the beginning of the season and the summer leading into the season, I think that they're going to take their time with it. I think with Kevin Hayes and Sean Gutierrez and Ryan Ellis and stuff, it was during the middle of the year, so they were trying to see if they could salvage the season. And I think that there was pressure, especially from AV and trying to win games to save his job. So I think that pressure helped. It didn't help either. But I think with a whole different coach, different approach to this team, that there's not really expectations to make the playoffs. I think that there's an expectation to compete, but I don't think there's an expectation to make the playoffs. So I think that makes it a little easier to take your time.
Fair enough.
Because I hate beef jerky, and it was a stupid thing. Yeah.
Hate beef jerky.
Thank you. I'm not the only human that does.
Fuck your life, bing bong.
I don't mind a nice piece of beef in my mouth every now and then.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. This show just took a turn.
Make sure you clip that one, Sam. Post that on Twitter.
I'll clip that one.
You have my
consent.
Thank you.
Permission?
That too. So we ready to move on to Sandstrom being signed?
Sure.
Boo.
Are you done? No, you're not.
Nope.
Pat, you need to come back. Your bed's not made.
It never is.
Anyway, the Sandy re-signing, he was signed to a 2-year, two-way, one-way deal, which I've explained before. 1 year is going to be a two-way contract. 1 year is going to be a one-way contract. So no matter what, he's going to see time in the NHL. This threw me for a loop because it's we have an interesting goalie situation going on. So we have Sandstrom, we have Sam Ersson, who is actually finally back on the ice and looking great in practices, videos that I've seen. And we have Kirill Ustimenko, and then we have Logan Flodell and Hayden Hockley down in the ECHL. I really didn't think Sandy was going to come back. I really thought he was going to walk. Just walk away completely, but he came back. So this kind of leads me to believe that Usti's going to be sent back overseas. Back to
let's be honest here. You weren't a real fan of Usti anyway, so you're not too upset about this.
I'm not upset, but like I said, Sandy not walking away threw me for a loop because I really thought he was going to walk. I didn't expect him to come back. So, odd man out who hasn't done great.
Usti.
I mean, we can't really say Sam Ersson hasn't done great because Sam Ersson was injured. But so was Usti. But Usti had more playing time than Sam Ersson this year. Because every time Sam Ersson would be put into a game, halfway through, backup goaltender would have to come in. So it threw me for a loop. But, stuff like this creates a goalie logjam. And then we also have Fedotov coming in. They kind of said for sure he's going to be Carter Hart's backup, but you never know.
You never know until
eventually
day of the season.
Yeah.
First game.
So stuff like that creates a goalie logjam, and odd man out, I think, would be Usti, because
I mean, we'll see. Like, the Flyers are throwing a lot of curveballs right now. And they're also doing great at not really telling the fans too much about what is going on until it happens.
Mhm.
So right now, a lot of it's just a bunch of guessing games. Sandstrom would definitely be a great third goalie for the Flyers, though.
Yeah, definitely. Like a third string goalie that they can just pull, put them in rotation.
That they can yo-yo.
Pretty much. That's what they were doing at the end of the season. But yeah.
Yeah. Like, I wouldn't mind having Sandy as a backup's backup.
I would actually love that, because then you save the money on a legit backup goalie, and then you can allocate that money elsewhere.
Like defense.
Correct.
You guys can take over that comment.
Defense. They have nobody in front of them.
Dan, how can you expect a goalie to do their job if the 5 men in front of them are not doing their job? Plain and simple. I'm not saying it again.
Yeah, like overall, for what was in front of Carter Hart and Martin Jones this year, they did decently well. Did they do great? No, they obviously let some bad ones slip by, but every goalie lets a bad one slip by every now and then. Like, I mean, the defense in front of them was bad. I'm pretty sure they were, for shots against, they were one of the lowest teams, that basically saying that they had one of the most shot against their goalies, or shot against averages for a team. They were had one of the highest, which is not good. And then shots for, they were one of the lowest. Their power play or their penalty kill was absolutely horrible. Their power play didn't help them at all. And their 5-on-5 was just atrocious this year. Like, there's no way around it. They had
the whole team.
The goalies had no help in front of them this year, and they were putting so much pressure on Hart and Jones to keep them afloat that it just crashed.
And I've always said it's not the Carter Hart show. It's not the Travis Konechny show. And when we had Giroux, it wasn't the Claude Giroux show. It's the Philadelphia Flyers. It's a team effort. That's why it's called a team sport.
I got you, Dan. No problem.
Cam is feisty.
Sorry.
It could have been your jab at Sandstrom by saying boo right in the beginning. But yes, that. But I mean, just overall this year, the Flyers were horrible. The goalie, honestly, out of all the positions, I think the goalie is the least of our worries right now.
Goaltending is the least of our worries.
Yes, I agree.
It's the least of our worry. Is it still a worry? Yeah, it's still a worry, obviously. But it's the least of our worries right now. We need to get more offensive pressure. We need to get less pressure on the goalies. And then we can worry about making sure Carter Hart is tip-top superstar that he's supposed to be. We need to put a team in front of them first so they can do their job properly.
Exactly.
Like, how else did Vasilevsky become one of the top goalies in the league?
Because he has a team in front of him.
He's been on the Bolts for years, and the Bolts have been a threat for years. It's as simple as that.
Thing, John Tortorella is a defensive coach. He said that he will bring in an assistant coach who will run the offense and will run the power play, etc. He will help this team defensively a lot. Simple as that. So I think you could put it this way. By the end of John Tortorella's tenure, we will find out if Carter Hart is the guy or not.
You build the team from the goalie out, yeah, and they have Hart right now. Now they need to put the people in front of them so that way Hart can actually do what he's supposed to
But
do.
do you guys agree with that? That once
I do. Yes.
Yeah, so as in 3 years, you're gonna find out if Carter Hart's the guy or not. Because if he's not it, then
While he's in his prime and he has a high
Right.
trading,
and a low contract, you're not gonna re-sign him. So
yeah, that's the time to trade him. What's his contract right now? Isn't it at like $4 million average?
3 years,
Let me look.
2 mil.
Was it 2?
I think it's 2.
I don't remember because I know they signed him when he did really well, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was up to like 3 or 4 million.
Dan,
But
Carter Hart is Canadian. Okay.
Brother, this guy stinks!
all right, John, you're getting back on Sam's good side here.
I know. So he's got this. Last year was 3.2, this year's 3.6, and next year's 4.5.
Oh, my bad.
So I was right. He does have a little higher.
And
like
then he's
three-
a restricted free agent in 2024 after the
So-
2024 season.
yeah. So he's
So
got.
he will be
a higher
26.
contract.
He will be 26, and we will know if he's shown flashes or not.
Oh,
If he-
that's a good question from Mike.
I don't need flashes. I need consistency. You guys like to see next to John Tortorella? That
I
is
don't know.
a great question. I need to know what type. I mean, he said he wants an offensive assistant coach, but I need to know what types of assistant coaches.
Yeah, I
are
don't
out there
think
ready
we
to be
know
hired.
specific coaches, but I think you can say the type of guys. So somebody who's young and innovative. I think we don't need somebody who's been around the game for 20 years. We need somebody who's up and coming with the times and knows
How the game's changing.
how to adjust on the fly and not set in their ways and wants to constantly keep learning.
I can agree with that. I mean, having somebody with I would say 3 to 5 years experience, at least in the minors, 3 to 5 years, so they have some type of idea of what to do. I mean, NHL is still a different story, but if they at least have some years in the minors, just like you would with the players, give them a couple years in the minors, bring them up to the majors, and then go from there and see what happens. Get Sam in there.
Right now, we have Jason Smith and Riley Armstrong as the assistant coaches down in Lehigh Valley.
So, I mean, if one of those guys has been known to be really good with the offensive work.
Well, Jason Smith was captain of the Flyers for 1 year.
Oh, another in-house. Yawn one for John.
No, nobody in house. Screw in house. Coaches, you need to be outside the organization.
That's not how the Flyers work.
But it's got to be how John Tortorella works. It's got to be outside the organization.
It's not how the Flyers work.
But it's his call. It's his coaching staff.
Boy,
It's not how the Flyers work.
Track.
What? What?
You're gonna keep going at this. All Pat's gonna say is
because I'm right.
Am I wrong though?
No.
Yeah. It's not how the Flyers work, John.
Hi, how are you?
No, but I do agree. They need somebody from the outside. They can't hire somebody from the inside, but they definitely need some type of offensive-minded assistant coach.
Yes.
One that knows how to run a power play really good too.
For real, that'd be, cool to have a suitable power play. That's cool.
Power play that has over 15% completion.
Yeah, can we just talk about the Stanley Cup playoffs and how that's a completely different sport than what the Flyers are playing? It's a whole different.
That's why the Flyers are on the bottom and the Avs and Bolts are on the top.
It's a whole different sport.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That is exactly what I'm saying. When it comes to their staff, I don't think they do things logically. They keep trying to pull people from inside the system already when you don't always need that. You need some sort of outside view at some point. Like, I mean, there's some circumstances I understand, like Sam Morin. I wouldn't mind having him in the organization somehow.
But he's not going to be on the bench.
He's not going to have a major role, but it would be nice. It's nice to have him in the organization. Danny Briere, I feel like, was a good move for inside the organization. But then you had the player development coach, Nick Schultz. What did he do during his career? Like, I always thought he was one of the worst Flyers defensemen whenever he was on the Flyers. And yet here he is developing our young players. Like, no, get someone else. Get someone that knows how to develop a player.
Well, that's why like you bring in a GM who's outside the organization, like Chuck Fletcher, because he wants to bring in his own guys, and he doesn't, although he likes the input of the guys who are already there, you need outside people to bring in.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think they need to hire some.
Man. That's what's in the cup. It's a drink.
Nathan McKinnon definitely drank out of the Stanley Cup and spilled like 80% of it all over his jersey. I watched that video. Yes, I did. I'm proud of the Avs. They deserved it. They really did.
Phenomenal.
Screw 'em. Love the series, but it's not the Flyers to screw 'em.
They deserved it. I mean, at the end of the day, GG's to them.
I have a
I'll
hard
bring my
hatred for the city of Denver. So, although I love the Avalanche and how they play, I hate the city of Denver.
And again,
what the hell do you have against Denver?
Nikolai Jokic took an MVP twice away from Joel Embiid.
It's a different sport.
It's
Anyway.
still the same
Completely
fan
different
base.
sport.
It's the same fan base.
and once again,
Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
Yes,
The
John
same
did.
fan base. It's the same fan
and we have
base.
seen once again that when a Flyer gets traded or acquired by another team, they go on to win a cup.
Congrats,
And it
Mac.
happened. It happened Saturday night, and it happened last night.
First of all, okay, but before we go on this Knack love train, he wasn't the reason why they won the cup.
No, he wasn't the reason why they won the cup, but he went to another team that won the cup.
He still played a big role, a big fourth line role. You
Fourth
act like
line that barely plays it in the Stanley Cup Finals.
You act
They
like the
rotate
fourth
three
line.
lines.
You act like the fourth line has no sentimental value to any team.
No, it does, but their ice time gets cut down substantially in the playoffs.
But they still play a part.
They do, but I think that there's too much love for Knack. Just because he played for us, there's too much love for him.
I'm just saying, congrats to him. And congrats to him denting the cup. Like, that's
his highlight. That's his one career highlight.
Actually, 3 people in the Flyers organization went on to win championships this weekend. Knack, Chris Biegrass, who was on the Phantoms for 2 years. Probably don't know him because he was on the Phantoms.
Yeah, no.
Alex Lyon.
I don't even know who Alex Lyon is.
Yes, you do. Shut up.
I don't hear Sam talk about him every single day of the week.
Listen, it was a very good and big weekend for me. Leave me alone.
I didn't hear Sam at all say Alex Lyon saw her sign and she freaked out like a little girl in a candy shop.
Are you freak out? I was
Imagination.
Even though if John had Joel Embiid read his sign, he'd be freaking out like a little girl in a candy shop.
If he just makes eye contact with me, I'd be freaking out.
And that would be me with Andre Bedoya.
You know, anytime Sam sees a minor league player.
don't.
Boing. All right. Great where this is going off to.
If I could slap you through the screen right now, John, I would.
Oh, imagine that. She's still going after you and not me, even though I just completely roasted her about Alex lying reading her sign.
I know.
I like it.
It's always me.
I like it.
Disappointed.
It's because you have all the SpongeBob sounds.
I do.
I was waiting for the oh yeah again.
Oh yeah.
That would have been perfect.
I could do it.
For that.
I could do it myself. Oh yeah.
Please
I could
don't.
do it a lot. No, I could do it a lot creepier, but I shouldn't do that on something that's recorded.
You do it on my stream all the time. What do you mean?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He does do a pretty good job of that. All right. We going on to the interview with the one, the only, the Pat Nagle.
Yes.
Not the better Pat, obviously, but
Oh my God. You will only be seeing my face.
We have Pat Nagle.
oh my gosh.
Wow, that's a great view of me. Anyway, we had technical issues, so you'll only be seeing me, but you will hear Pat's wonderful voice. He was a great interview, and I really do appreciate him taking time out of his busy schedule to sit down with me. Unfortunately, it was just me because these two had other things to do, and this was very unexpected and last minute.
Like work hour full-time jobs, yeah.
Yeah. This is
And go to school. Thank you.
Yeah. But this
Actually,
was
that week was actually 2 jobs that I worked with and school. So
this was super unexpected, and I pulled it off, and I think I did okay.
oh,
Sam, does your rotator cuff hurt?
No, it actually
For patting yourself
it
on the
clicks
back
every
or-
time I try to do that.
all right. Ready?
All right.
I guess.
John, run the clip.
So today we have Pat Nagle, and he was part of, I don't even know how many goalies we had this season in Lehigh Valley, but he was one of our main goaltenders. So Pat, thank you so much for coming on for the Pucking
welcome.
Flyers. It's just me today. Pat and John have to work.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, I was super upset that I didn't get to interview you at all during the season, even though I asked when you had really good games and they told me no. So
I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, it was a goofy year, and unfortunately, we didn't have a ton of media access throughout the season.
yeah, it was just like they would come up, they would ask us, "Hey, who do you want the press conference?" And I would, choose one person, and you would usually get them, but
That's not creepy.
I was a brag. I got 2 guys in one weekend that I wanted, so I was pretty happy.
Good for you, Sam.
Absolutely.
Good for you.
Take the wins where you can get them.
Absolutely. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your history, just coming up through the ECHL and the AHL, and how that all came about for you?
Yeah, it's been a busy career, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of different cities, but it's been fun. I signed with Tampa Bay a long time ago out of college, and I played there with their East Coast team. It was the Florida Everblades at the time, and Syracuse Crunch was the AHL team, and so bounced around there for a bit, and then I was able to see the west part of the country. I was in Dallas' system for a year. Then I ended up signing just an East Coast deal with Fort Wayne, where I spent a couple of years and was up and down. Actually kind of got some decent opportunities and started to change things around before I signed with Grand Rapids and Detroit system, where I was fortunate enough to be there for about 4 seasons, maybe a little more actually. And I was in Toledo and Grand Rapids a ton. And then this past season was my 11th year in Lehigh. So it was great.
Yeah. How did you like Lehigh?
No, it was awesome. We were treated really well. Obviously a beautiful rink, great fans. Yeah, it's really nice facility. Philly treated us very well, accommodations and everything, and so that was really nice.
Now, I have like an off the wall question, but when you guys would be down at the one end with like obviously all the fans around you, not with the hallway that was behind you guys, where you would come out of the locker room. I sat right in that section. That's my section. Those are my seats. I was always in the second row. Could you hear us yelling at you guys?
Certain situations, it's pretty loud when the music's on or the crowd gets into it when the game gets going. But every now and then you'll hear somebody say something during a whistle or at a time where it gets a little quiet, and it's always pretty funny to hear. Obviously, you appreciate the support, and even the heckler sometimes give you a good laugh.
Yeah, that was mostly my section.
That sounds about right. Yeah, they had a good view for the bad goals, the good goals, the good saves, you name it. So I'm sure it gave them a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it was definitely an up and down season, but I enjoyed it. But I always enjoy hockey. So
That's good. Yeah, you got to stay optimistic in this business.
I try my best, especially with being a writer and doing podcasts and stuff. You know, you've got to have a different perspective. So the one question that was given to me for you is, what aspect of playing did you find most useful during your time of coaching the USA S17 league?
That's a good question. Honestly, you just try to help those young guys as much as possible. I've been fortunate enough to work with USA Hockey in the past, doing some summer camps and working with the pretty much U15 to U17s there at their festivals in Buffalo or Rochester, New York. They're out there in the summer. And so, no, I've really enjoyed it. It just kind of gives you a different aspect to give back, to sit, even just to be on the bench and watch the games while you're help coaching a team, kind of see what the players see. It gives you a little different perspective, to say the least, when you're sitting on the bench watching from that aspect that you can't do anything about. But it is a lot of fun, and just to get out and work with them, the next generation. I think we're already starting to see it in the game today, of just how skilled they are. You see how much pace the game has nowadays. It's incredible. It wasn't like that, 10 years ago when I came in. So it's pretty fun to see. I mean, anyone on the ice is dangerous. If it's your top line, obviously, where everyone's a shooter, but nowadays it's your fourth line, it's your third pair of D. It doesn't matter who's out there. They're going to generate offense, and they're going to puck. So it was a experience.
Yeah, no, for sure. You talk about these, especially these younger goaltenders coming in. Obviously, you see the stuff I post on Twitter. I follow the Chicago Wolves, and Pyotr Kochetkov. He's just insane out there, and in tandem with a former Phantom, Alex Lyon. But this kid is just so fiery. Like, I'm surprised he hasn't gotten in trouble yet for how he just grabbed a guy the other night during the Wolves and Thunderbirds game, and he just like grabbed him up by the neck because he did kind of slash him in the back, so it was kind of warranted. But yeah, you see the game progress so much over the years. It's kind of intimidating for younger guys coming in.
Yeah, it's not an easy road. The guys that are still playing have done something right to stick around, because they're definitely getting pushed out by the speed. Everyone's just bigger, stronger, faster. And so as older guys, as you slow down a little, you have to be smarter, maintain your health, stay healthy for the season. It's a long one. It's a grind. And so that's where I think the young guys start to learn from some of the older guys. When you look at the vets on their team, of, what are they doing out there that's allowed them to play this long and be successful?
Yeah, definitely. So the Olympics, Lappy was very proud of you. I'm with that. I remember it was one conference, and I forget what was said, but he's just like, yeah, I have an Olympian on my team. We all just like rolled eyes and laughed, but he was so proud of you. So You should know that.
No, he was awesome, and I appreciated them obviously allowing me to go when I was gone for a month. It's never easy to leave your team, especially when we were doing well and kind of putting in a playoff push there. But yeah, no, they were very supportive. They were great, and so it was a pretty neat opportunity for me. So I'm very thankful that that all worked out, and I was able to attend.
So what was it like when you got that call? Did you know it was coming, or did you have
I had heard some rumors, but you don't really you don't want to assume anything or anything like that, and so I kind of stayed out of it, to be honest, and didn't really even consider much of it. And then your name kind of starts getting brought into the conversation, and obviously it was a compliment just to even have my name brought up. And then as things become serious, you just start talking to your agent, and you see that they had reached out to them or reached out to the Flyer staff and Lehigh staff, and start trickling down that, you know, maybe this is a possibility. And then once I got that phone call, it was pretty exciting to make things official and be able to tell some people once it was announced.
What was your first thought when you got the phone call?
I better call my parents. They're going to be pretty excited. They've been through it all. So it was kind of a nice little cherry on top there last year. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, when I saw it come across like my Twitter feed and my Facebook feed, I was just like, wait, where is he going? All right, well, I guess we're gonna have to do. But no, I was so excited. They still have shirts of the shirt that's made for you.
Oh, that's awesome.
They still have those there. So yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty funny when I got back to see some of the guys with shirts on and stuff like that. And they were giving me a pretty hard time, and which is always a good thing. So yeah, I was pretty thankful it all worked out.
So you helped Reading in their playoff push, which they got super far, which was exciting to see because this organization didn't do so hot this year, but it was amazing to see how far they got, and they made a push every single night they were out there. But were you there when the bus was broken down?
I was not. I was still in Lehigh, knock on wood. Yeah, that would have been a tough bounce, obviously. Those guys were headed back from Maine, and so I joined them right after our season ended in Lehigh, and was able to get down there and play Game 6 of the first round.
Yeah, it was well, like I said, you guys made a push every single night. I tried my best to get out there to see it, but it didn't end up working out. I was super upset, but you know, there's more bigger priorities in life than just hockey. But what was it like helping those guys make that push to try and get to the Kelly Cup? Because I know you have experience.
Yeah, it's a privilege to be in the playoffs, and I think it was the similar talks that we went through in Lehigh as well, of you're so close and just keep working, see what happens. It was unfortunate that we fell out a little short there. But at the same time, when the opportunity arose that if I wanted to go play there, like I said, it's a privilege to play in the playoffs. You don't realize how tough it can be just to even make the playoffs when you're younger. And so to get that opportunity, I was excited to go down and try to win some hockey games. We had a good team there. Unfortunately, we had a couple tough injuries that they lost a couple big D-men early in that first round against Maine that we weren't able to get back. And I think that was really tough that all of a sudden, you know, you're thin in the back end and you have some forwards playing defense when you're playing some of the top teams in the league in a best of 7 series. Eventually, some of those things maybe come back and catch up with you. And so for us, we were in it a lot, and we got up in the second round on a good Newfoundland team, and we weren't able to hold on to that lead. And so it's a tough way to end your season, obviously, when you know that, you know, you possibly have more to give from the standpoint of just if everyone's healthy, maybe that ends a little differently for us, and we're playing in the third round against the eventual Florida Everblades, who won it all. And so it would have been fun just to see where we matched up against them. But that's the way hockey goes sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like that was just the constant story this year. It's just injury after injury after injury, and it hurts a team to have that many injuries, especially on defense. And I know the fans brought up defense.
And my sister's internet was great.
Woo!
That's where it cuts out and it'll cut back in.
Oops, sorry. I lost you for a minute there.
Yeah, I think I lost myself. It's fine. But let's go into your experience with the Phantoms and just playing for them this year. I know we talked about a little bit about it earlier, but what was it like playing with that set of guys? Because that set of guys, with the exception of a few of them, they were all together last year in the condensed season that we had.
Yeah, I think it shows. It was a really close group, a lot of great guys. Really enjoyed my time. Especially being a new guy, it's never easy. Where had been like those guys in Detroit system for 4 or 5 years, and everyone from management to coaching to other players, graphics coming in, you name it. You get spoiled just with your comfort level, and so I think that plays a large part of just what a great group we had. Like you said, though, there was just a lot of injuries, and so it throws some tough spots at you, but at the same time, it gives guys an opportunity that might not have gotten one. Sorry. And so I think it was a unique year to an extent, but I think a lot of people left it in a positive headspace.
Yeah, you guys, it definitely, we saw the push. We saw how, it started off, and then, they finally got into the routine and learning Lappy's system and just finally getting into a groove. And I think you guys, it was just a shift of Lappy being a new head coach and, getting thrown the curveballs that he got thrown. And it was not a bad year. It was just I think it was a learning year. And like you said, being a new guy coming into a team that's kind of been together for the last year, it can be intimidating. It can be tough. So I totally get it.
Yeah, like you said, there's a lot of new faces. There's a lot of change, and so I think with anything, it just takes a little bit of time. And if you look at the second half, there was a lot of improvements made by everyone.
So sorry.
It's a long ways, and hopefully it can be built off next season.
Dang it, John.
Yeah. So every time I interview a goaltender, I have to ask, do you have any rituals?
I do not. I'm not very superstitious, if you will. Maybe once upon a time when I was younger, and then kind of once you get to pro, you see a little bit of everything, and your days change, your travel schedule. There's just so many games, and I think you can get yourself in a little bit of trouble maybe if you're too much into that stuff. I think to an extent, obviously you can have your traits that you enjoy or habits, I guess, that kind of get you in a mindset to get you going. I think each guy is different. I'm a little more laid back and low key probably, but to each their own.
Yeah. So I know that I wrote about this on you, that you had some AHL records this year. I think one of them was actually getting 2 shutouts. And you broke, I think you came in 3rd or something like that with the Phantoms like all-time saves. So, how does it feel to actually like finally get a shutout in the AHL and just break some records of your own?
Yeah, it was great. I think every year you're just trying to improve and trying to stay afloat to get to that next season, to just keep getting better and keep working and seeing what happens. And I was fortunate enough to have a couple good bounces in some games, and obviously, I mean, a shutout's a team thing, and so the guys were there battling for me, which was huge, and it goes a long ways.
Yeah, I think I was working, but like you guys were out in Hershey, and it came about that I believe it was Hershey that you got shut out. Like, once Hershey, is this team feeling okay?
Yeah, it was a busy night. Got a lot of pucks, but no, it was good. It was fun to. It's always a tough place to play, and obviously them being right down the road, you see them often. It's always a good rivalry game. And
Yeah,
so it was fun to be on the winning side of that one.
I know before the pandemic, and if Hershey would come out to Lehigh Valley would be completely sold out because it would just be full of Phantoms and Hershey fans. But I think since the pandemic, people are not coming out, but it was still pretty packed those nights. So it's definitely a cool thing to see. So another thing that I wanted to ask, what was it like being in tandem with Sandy this year?
Yeah, he's awesome. We built a great relationship. Not knowing each other before the season, it takes a little time. You're at camp together and start working together and skating together and stuff. And I mean, he's that typical Swede, just super nice, super kind, kind of quiet, keeps to himself. And then as your relationship builds, obviously going to dinner and doing stuff on the road, it continues to grow, and it's a lot of fun. He's a great guy, and it was fun to see him do so well this year.
Yeah, I remember when he got called up to the Flyers for the first time, and just watching that game, I was just like, anytime you guys get called up, even from the ECHL to the AHL or the AHL to the NHL, the fans and just writers alike, we all get like a sense of pride, because it's, especially me, because I watch these guys for so long. I'm just like ecstatic to watch them in the NHL. It's such a huge thing. Do you have any NHL experience, or is it just ECHL and AHL?
Correct. Yeah, I've just been up for your standard like preseason games and stuff like that via camp, and then a long time ago, probably like in practice and stuff during the season, but I haven't played in any NHL games. No.
Okay. And then my last question is, do you have a favorite teammate of all time? Because, I mean, you've been playing forever.
That's a good question.
Way to call him.
He's 34.
I'm not sure.
That's all.
That's a very good question. I
Age.
was able to play with one of my college roommates in Fort Wayne and Toledo for a bit, so that was pretty neat. And one of my other college roommates, we live near each other here in the Detroit area, so I get to see those guys a lot, which is pretty cool. He's playing over in Germany now, but yeah, I've met a lot of great people, and every year you take away some new buddies, and then obviously when you're in a system for more than a year or two, I think you really start to build those relationships that last a really long time. But anytime you're fortunate enough to be with those guys for 8-9 months, you really become close, and so it's pretty neat.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We really do appreciate it. I was keen on getting somebody this summer, so but thank you for coming on and taking time out of your day to do this for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks, Pat.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Way to call him old.
He's my age, so you're calling me old.
Correct.
Who's your favorite teammate? Because you've been around forever. Jeez.
Don't take offense to it.
Jeez. He probably cried himself to sleep that night.
I know I would.
Okay, Pat, if you're watching, I'm sorry I called you old.
John, real quick, throw up Michael's comment that he threw in the middle of the interview.
Yep.
I don't know.
I mean, I feel like he would be, if Usti's going, he would be a good backup for Sandstrom.
But we also have Ersson. That's my only concern. Is if Ersson's ready, then Nagle can figure it out.
Is he going to be healthy, though?
Battled out.
He looks pretty healthy in practice, so.
Battled out.
All right. Yeah. I mean, worst comes to worst, he can be in the ECHL and just be ready for when the Flyers call up Sandstrom so that the Phantoms can call him up.
Yeah, we should see. I hope they re-sign him, but again, just because I talked to the guy doesn't mean I know anything.
Yeah. Overall, that was good. That was a good interview, though.
Yeah, good job.
Thank you. It was
Did
really
10
good.
times. Did 10 times better than John and I could ever do.
I tried my best.
No, you got some very good insight of his past and how excited he's been able to work with the Olympics and with the USA team and all his experiences that we are not jealous about at all.
And I apologize if he sounded bored.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Bored?
with all the interviews and post game interviews that I see from professional NHL players, like he sounded normal to me.
They do so much of it that it's just
yeah,
natural.
that's why I replied saying most players sound like this.
Yeah. I mean, what, you want him to be like, "Hey Sam, how you doing?" for 20 minutes? Like, no, he's not going to do that. He's tired.
But you know, super grateful that he was able to take time out of his day to do that, and you know, I really appreciate it. I'm sure you two appreciate it as well.
Absolutely. I'm sorry I couldn't get you any questions sooner. You kind of
I
sprung it up on me.
I wasn't.
How does that work?
I was driving in between my jobs and I was like,
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna ask him to change his name to Frank because he's not the better Pat. He is the better Pat.
Wow, John,
Wrong.
can you mute her?
Wrong.
Mute me. I'm the one who did the interview.
I'm obviously the better Pat. I have my own podcast.
My money don't jiggle jiggle, it folds. I like to see you wiggle wiggle, for sure.
You know,
riding
in my
Fiat.
something.
Fiat, really have to see it. 6 chains. I don't know the rest.
6 feet tall and a compact. No slack. So I don't know. I can't remember the rest of the words.
Wrap her up.
Any last minute things for that interview, Sam?
No.
John?
Let's wrap it up.
All right. Well, thank you all for showing up, talking with us, and watching episode 19 of the Pucking Flyers podcast. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Pucking Flyers, and make sure you follow us on Instagram /Pucking Flyers, and go directly support us on Anchor and Spotify. Just search up Pucking Flyers podcast, and all of our episodes will be on there. Free for you guys.
Sorry, and if you just want to listen to the Pat Nagle interview, that is up separately from this episode.
Yes, it is. So also a huge shout out to Six Pack Coverage for sponsoring us. Make sure you go follow them on Twitter. I believe they have numerous accounts. They have a Nebraska account, and I believe they just made a dog account.
They did. I was so excited.
They did.
I'm pretty sure I got followed by them.
Yes.
So,
Andrew, I love you for that account.
So if you want to go see all the cute pups, make sure you go follow their dog account. I have to figure out the name for that because they just followed me not too long ago. 6 Pack Pups. So at 6pack_pups, you will get all the 6 Pack coverage dogs and the different teams they represent. And basically, you just get to see a bunch of cute faces. Other than John's face.
It's the motherfucking Eagle Double G. Snoop Dogg. You know I'm mobbing with the D.R.E. Yeah.
Don't worry, Sam. I didn't say my face was cute either.
Wow.
Nobody liked the O-double-G.
Did you not see me do that with it? Snoop Dogg. Yeah. So our next episode will be July. If my freak
Possibly draft night, July 7th, but next Thursday.
Good point.
But
good point.
definitely July. Just kidding. I am on vacation
July
July
10th.
11th. I'm on vacation that week, so.
Well, I can get somebody else.
Are you ever here for these anymore, other than like once every 3 episodes?
This time I will not be in the country, so I will have zero connection to any of you guys that week.
I've been wanting to get somebody in here, so I'll talk to that person.
Yeah, replace John. He's not into this podcast.
My money don't jiggle jiggle, it folds. I like to see you wiggle wiggle, for sure.
God, I hate that.
So until next time, guys, stay safe out there. Much love. Peace out.